Well, hello. Today, I'm reviewing earplugs for use while riding your motorcycle. I started wearing earplugs while I was riding about 8 years ago, the day I rented a Harley-Davidson Street Glide. I only got about a dozen blocks away wearing the shorty helmet that came with the bike when I realized that I was going to be deaf by the end of the day without earplugs. So I stopped at a hardware store and I bought some cheap foam plugs. Since then, I've worn a few different types, and today I'm going to share with you what my experiences have been. Now, I've used 4 criteria for evaluation. Your criteria may differ, but these are the things that are important to me. First, I'm looking for the highest level of attenuation, that is to say, noise reduction, of the frequencies associated with the worst noises experienced while riding. Noise from wind and from my own machine. I still want them to allow me to be able to use my comm system, to be able to listen to music, talk to my wife, or if I'm stopped, to be able to carry on a conversation with somebody else. They need to be comfortable so I can use them daily for hours at a time. We're gearing up for our round the world trip, so I want to be able to use the earplugs for hours a day, every day, day after day after day. And so because of that, they also need to be durable. They need to have longevity to them. They need to be able to last so that I don't ruin them or need to replace them in a short period of time. And finally, cost. Now, I'm of the opinion I don't care so much about the cost of the earplug. That is to say, if it's the right product, if it's the best product, unless it's completely unreasonably priced, I'm going to buy it. But I will consider that as part of this evaluation. Okay, so the first earplug that I tried out was the foam earplug type. And there are several different kinds. This one here is known as the top of the list, if you will. This one's made by Howard Light, maybe? L-E-I-G-H-T. I may be pronouncing that incorrectly. This one provides the highest level of attenuation, rated at 33 dB. But it kills all noise, reduces situational awareness, and the ability for me to be able to use my comm system. So, not ideal. As for comfort, well, if you haven't used these before, these and other foam earplugs, you take them and you roll them between your fingers until you crush them down, and you'll notice they're nice and thin, and then you insert them into your ear. And after a few moments, the foam will expand, causing your ear canal to be sealed. But that, as it expands, that pressure I found to be not very comfortable on my ear canal for long-term use. Short-term, I could put up with it, but all day, every day, not ideal. As far as reusability goes, you can try and clean these, but they're designed to be disposable. I have read people having tried to clean these, and when they do, they find that the compressibility and reboundability is reduced, and so the functionality of the earplug reduces. I'm not convinced because of the nature of the material you're going to get them very clean. Again, they're designed to be disposable, and so individually, the cost on these is really low. These particular ones are about 17 cents a pop when you buy them in bulk, but that brings up another issue. You need to buy them in bulk. If you change these out once a week, I don't know if that's frequently enough or not, depending on your level of hygiene, but you need to bring 52 pair of these for 1 year's worth of use. Now, of course, it's possible you might be able to find a pair of foam earplugs or several pair as you're riding along, but I don't want to have to do that. And so add the comfort issue and the hygiene issue, and I've decided these aren't the right plugs for me. So then my wife and I tried to experiment with the custom molded earplugs. With the custom molded earplugs, you get, it's a binary compound. You get these 2 bits of putty, and you knead them together really well. You mix them up, and they create a chemical reaction that will eventually cause this this putty to harden. And so while it's still soft, you jam it in your ear, you shape it around so it fits and molds to the shape of your ear. And then after a short period of time, the chemical reaction finishes. I'm assuming it's harmless to you. It didn't hurt me. It got warm, but it didn't hurt me. But then it's formed to the shape of your ear. And this is what we've got right here. They provide a high level of attenuation as well, but like the foam earplugs, they attenuate across the spectrum. So that wasn't an attractive feature. I found them to be a little bit more comfortable than the foam earplugs because they didn't expand and put pressure on your ear canal, which was good. But I found a couple of things that I didn't like about them. First of all, once you put them in, you had to make sure the outside was shaved down so they didn't rub on your helmet. If they sit proud compared to your ear, they'll rub on the padding in your helmet, and that transmits right into your ear. You can shave them down and that's fine. The other thing I found is because they mold so well to your ear, they're touching so much of your ear. I found that to be irritating. If you get hot, if you sweat, that's all right up against the ear. And so for prolonged use, hours a day, day after day, I found them not uncomfortable, but irritating. From a longevity standpoint, you can tell these ones are a little bit dirty. You could clean them, but I'm not convinced that cleaning them in the long term that these are going to last. So I didn't end up using them long enough to clean them over and over and over again to confirm that. So you may have a different experience with regards to that. But I found that because of the irritability sitting against so much of the surface of my ear, combined with the fact they just get kind of gross, I wrote those off as a good long-term solution. So then we went and we looked at silicone earplugs. And my wife and I have been using earplugs designed, we bought them at a music store. They're designed specifically for drummers. She got the Zildjian by Earpiece. Earpiece makes several different models. And I settled on the Vader brand earplugs. And we've been using both of these for about 5 years now. I really like the Vader, and Angela's tolerated her Earpiece because they've been the best solution so far for her. Not ideal, but she hasn't found anything better yet. I've also tried a few other brands, and so in this discussion I'm going to compare those with the Vaders, which I've used. And I'm going to give you a rundown on my experience with them so far. The brands I'm going to talk about are the Earpiece and the Vader, of course, along with No Noise and Alpine MotoSafe. Now, when it comes to attenuation, all of these earplugs come with a different noise filter that claims to reduce or attenuate different frequencies by different amounts. So when an earplug claims to have a noise reduction rating of 20 or 25 dB, that doesn't mean it reduces noise across all frequencies at that same amount. So what you need to do is you need to look at the noise reduction rating at various frequencies for each of the earplugs. Now, the biggest noise generators when you're riding a motorcycle are wind and engine noise, with wind being the biggest contributor, unless you've got a modified exhaust. Wind is loudest at lower frequencies, that is to say below 500 hertz. Noise from a motorcycle generally is loudest in the 800 to 2000 hertz range. I want you to keep those numbers in mind. The earpiece plugs are the same whether you buy the ones marketed to motorcyclists or to musicians. The only difference is the filters that are available. Now with the earpiece, the Ultra Max Protection filter, the one that gives you the highest attenuation, boasts 26 dB of attenuation. But below 500 hertz, it isn't 26 dB. It's only between 20 and 23 dB. The Alpine MotoSafe and the No Noise brands also see their best attenuation at 2000 hertz, with reduced attenuation below 500 Hertz, where wind noise is loudest. Now, Vader claims attenuation at 27 dB. I couldn't find a chart of attenuation by frequency, so I'm going to expect a very similar decline in attenuation into the lower frequencies. But that's an assumption on my part based on the other products. Now, of the three I've used, the Alpine MotoSafe, the No Noise, and the Vader, my personal experience is that the Vaders provide the best noise attenuation experience, with No Noise providing the poorest noise attenuation. Now, when considering comfort, No Noise and Vader have the same basic shape and fit. A little tapering down here. Although the No Noise didn't seem to fit in my ears as deeply. The filter in the No Noise is actually located in the center of the earplug, whereas Vader's is located on the end here. And the impact of that is with no filter on the end for the No Noise, the area where you'd grip is a lot more soft and flexible, and I think that may have made it harder for me to push it into my ear canal. With the Vaders, with the filter on the end here, you can grab that, and it's easier to push it as far into your ear canal as you wish. And funny enough, despite the length of both earplugs, the end doesn't stick out far enough to rub on the inside of my helmet, so that's not an issue at all. With regards to the MotoSafe and the earpiece brands, they're both shorter, and to insert them you have to push on the end of the earplug here to get them into your ear, and they only have this small tab with which to remove them. I found the Alpine MotoSafe ones, the ones I used, to be a little bit fiddly because of how small they were, and I was concerned the way they fit that they were going to fall out of my ears. Although, in fairness, in the short time I used them, I don't remember this actually happening. Now, my wife finds that the earpiece put a little bit too much pressure on her ear canal, but you'll notice that the earpiece ones aren't tapered, whereas the MotoSafe ones are tapered. And I suspect maybe if she had used the MotoSafe ones, she would have found them to be a little bit more comfortable. As for reusability, all of these silicone earplugs are washable and so should last for a long time. Our Vader and earpiece earplugs are several years old, and all you need to do is pop the filter out. These ones slide out like that. The earpiece ones, you've got to push out a little bit more, but they do pop out. And then you can use light soap and water to clean the earplugs out, dry them, pop the filters back in, and they're good as new. When it comes to cost, the Alpine MotoSafe Race, the Race model is the one that has the highest attenuation, comes in at about $18. Earpiece ranges between $30 and $40 depending on which model you get. They've got several different options to consider there. The No Noise ones come in at $26, and the Vader Safe and Sound are $16, cheapest of the bunch. But they seem to be just a little bit harder to find. I think I bought the last pair right here, actually, brand new from Guitar Center. Ordered them through there. They might also be available online, but I can't seem to ever get them through Vader themselves. Because of the fit, the comfort, and the perceived better attenuation, my favorites have been the Vaders. I just, as you see, bought a new pair. But there's a reason why they're still sitting in the package. And that's because while these ones were en route to my home, I found an entirely different earplug that I want to show you today. And this one comes from the brand called Loop. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw these, I was concerned that they were a little bit gimmicky. But with Amazon Prime's free return policy, buying a set of these to try was a risk-free venture. Now, Loop offers several different versions. One option is the Loop Quiet, and it's got just a straight silicone cap on the end, fully capped off, with no filter built into it. and it offers the highest level attenuation. I bought the Loop Experience Pro, which comes as the Loop Experience, which is this here, plus it comes with a package that comes with a whole bunch of different tips, both silicone and foam, and it also comes with something called the mute. You get a set in white and you get a set in black. And these are a small annular insert we'll talk about in a moment. Now, the basic Loop Experience claims an attenuation of between 18 and 20 dB, which at face value isn't nearly as impressive as the 27 dB of the Vader or the 30 dB of the No Noise. The difference, though, is that Loop claims their design achieves a flat attenuation. In other words, between 18 and 20 dB across the entire frequency spectrum. In that sense, similar to your foam earplugs, just not as high. And when you take a look at the mute, that's this annular insert right here, and you take that and you pop that into the loop here, it closes off. There's this tiny little hole that allows sound to enter. This sound channel is what they call this loop here. But you pop this in, it blocks off that opening, and Loop claims that by putting that in, you get an additional 5 dB of attenuation. Although Loop doesn't say whether that additional 5 dB of attenuation is also flat across the frequency spectrum. Now, I've been using the Loop earplugs over the last month, and so far, from my perspective, they perform as well as the Vaders. Despite the claim of flat attenuation, I'm still able to enjoy music from my comm system and carry on a conversation just as I could with my Vaders. I suppose theoretically, if you got a cheaper pair of foam earplugs that only attenuated at 20 dB across the spectrum, that I might see a similar performance between the Loop, except the Loop are a lot more comfortable. We'll get to that in a sec. As I mentioned, they come with both silicone and foam tips, and Loop claims that if you use the foam tips instead of the silicone ones, you get a slight additional attenuation, and that may be true, but I haven't noticed a significant enough difference in my experience. On the comfort end of the spectrum, there's a huge difference between the Loop and the Vader, and of course with the foam ones here. The Loop plugs don't actually insert into the ear canal, unlike the Vader and the foam ones that go right into your ear canal. And the Vaders, they use friction to stay in place. The Loop ones sit more as a cap on the ear canal. They don't insert in, and so they don't put pressure on the inside of the ear canal. This ring, when you put the ear plug in, actually rotates and tucks into this part of the ear that probably has a name. And doing this holds them in place for as long as you wear them. The fit doesn't seem as secure as jamming something deep into your ear canal, but after a few times, I figured out how to fit them in so that they stay in place. And they've never fallen out, and they've never come loose. And so these are, without a doubt, the most comfortable earplugs I have worn, period. So, if you want to buy my unopened Vaders, just let me know. Now, Loop's cleaning instructions say to wipe them clean with a damp cloth and not to submerge them with water. It doesn't appear as though the filter that's in the end is removable, so not submerging them, especially with the open sound channel, probably a good idea. But because they're not jammed into your ear canal, they probably aren't going to get as dirty as quickly. I haven't experienced that so far. The foam ear tips probably won't stand up to cleaning as well as the silicone ones will, but that's okay because I'm not a fan of the foam ear ones. The foam ear tips aren't as comfortable for me as the silicone ones anyway. As far as cost goes, the Experience Pro, the whole package, comes in at $35. The foam ear tips don't excite me, but the extra $10 I think is worth it to get the mute annular rings. The base experience come in just at $25. And if it matters to you, the loop come in 4 different colors. You can get black, you can get silver, you can get glorious gold, and you can get rose gold. Now, if I had one complaint about the loop, it has to do with this case. This case is small. Now, in that sense, it's good because it is precisely the size it needs to be to hold the 2 earplugs. But I found that it is so small that when I've pulled my keys out of my pocket, it's also popped out on a couple of occasions. And so I've had to shift them to a different pocket. It does come with this small loop on the top here that you can use to hook to your keychain or to something else if that's something you want to do. But really, that's the only complaint that I have about the loop. And so that's it. In summary, we've found that the silicone earplugs designed for musicians are the second best for our needs, displaced only recently from Top Spot by this new product that comes from Loop. Now, I'm curious, do you have a different earplug that you swear by? Have you tried the Loop yet? I want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching.